What if one of the richest and most advanced ancient kingdoms in history disappeared, without leaving behind its own written history? The Nabatean Kingdom built Petra, one of the most breathtaking cities ever carved into stone, mastered desert survival, controlled ancient trade routes, and became unbelievably wealthy. Yet today, historians still struggle to fully understand who the Nabateans truly were, how they gained such immense power, and why their empire mysteriously vanished. In this video, we are going to uncover the forgotten truth behind Petra, solve the mystery of the Nabateans' sudden disappearance, and reveal how this lost empire secretly shaped the ancient world more than most people realize. Hidden deep within the rose-red mountains of modern-day Jordan stands Petra, a city so extraordinary that it is often called one of the greatest architectural wonders ever created. Towering temples carved directly into sandstone cliffs, intricate tombs glowing in golden sunlight, and massive water systems built in one of the harshest deserts on Earth. Petra feels almost impossible. For centuries, travelers believed Petra was built by mysterious giants, lost tribes, or even supernatural forces. But behind this incredible city stood a powerful civilization known as the Nabateans, a desert kingdom that rose from humble nomads to become masters of trade, engineering, and diplomacy. Yet despite their brilliance, the Nabateans left behind very few records about themselves. Their empire rose rapidly, dominated the ancient trade world, and then slowly faded into history, leaving behind questions that historians are still trying to answer today. Tonight, we journey into the forgotten world of the Nabatean Kingdom, uncovering their rise, their secrets, their innovations, and the mystery of how such a powerful empire disappeared almost without a trace. Long before Petra became one of the most breathtaking cities in human history, before towering temples were carved into rose-colored mountains, and before caravans filled with priceless goods crossed endless desert sands, the Nabateans were simply survivors. They were not born into power, wealth, or empire. Instead, they emerged from one of the harshest environments on Earth, the vast Arabian desert, where survival itself was a daily battle against scorching heat, violent sandstorms, and unforgiving terrain. The earliest Nabateans were nomadic tribes who roamed the deserts of northern Arabia around the 4th century BCE. Unlike settled civilizations that built cities along rivers or fertile lands, the Nabateans mastered life in regions where water was scarce and resources were unpredictable. Their lives depended on constant movement, traveling from one location to another with their herds, families, and supplies. They developed an unmatched understanding of desert geography, memorizing hidden wells, seasonal water sources, and secret routes that only experienced desert travelers could navigate safely. This knowledge became their greatest weapon. While other civilizations feared the desert and avoided crossing it, the Nabateans embraced it. They turned the desert from an obstacle into an opportunity. Traders from powerful empires like Egypt, Mesopotamia, and later Greece desperately needed safe passage through Arabian trade routes to transport valuable goods such as incense, spices, perfumes, and rare resins. These products were extremely valuable in the ancient world, often worth more than gold. But the journey through the desert was deadly. Caravans risked dehydration, robbery, and getting lost in endless sand dunes. The Nabateans saw potential where others saw danger. Using their deep knowledge of the desert, they began guiding trade caravans across these risky routes. At first, they worked as protectors and navigators, offering safety and expertise in exchange for payment. Over time, they gained control of the most important trade pathways connecting southern Arabia to the Mediterranean world. Their ability to control these routes slowly transformed them from simple nomads into powerful economic players. As their influence expanded, the Nabateans began settling in strategic locations that allowed them to monitor and protect trade caravans. One of these locations was a hidden valley surrounded by towering sandstone cliffs, a place that would later become the legendary city of Petra. The location was perfect. It was naturally protected by narrow entrances, making it easy to defend against enemies. It also sat at the crossroads of several major trade routes, allowing the Nabateans to control the movement of goods between continents. Their transition from nomadic life to a structured kingdom did not happen overnight. It was a gradual transformation driven by intelligence, patience, and adaptability. The Nabateans maintained many aspects of their nomadic culture, including their flexibility and independence, while slowly adopting urban lifestyles. They built permanent settlements, developed marketplaces, and established political leadership structures that helped organize their growing society. Unlike many early empires that relied on conquest and warfare to expand their territories, the Nabateans built their power through trade, cooperation, and strategic alliances. They understood that controlling commerce could be just as powerful as controlling land. Their desert survival skills allowed them to operate in areas where traditional armies struggled to survive, giving them a unique advantage over neighboring civilizations. As trade flourished, wealth began pouring into Nabatean society. This wealth allowed them to invest in infrastructure, architecture, and urban development. Petra gradually transformed from a hidden desert shelter into a thriving capital filled with merchants, craftsmen, travelers, and diplomats from across the ancient world. The Nabateans were no longer just desert wanderers. They had become rulers of a growing commercial empire that connected multiple civilizations. Their rise challenges traditional views of how empires are formed. Instead of fertile farmland or powerful military conquest, the Nabatean Kingdom was built on knowledge, trade, and environmental mastery. Their story reveals how intelligence and adaptability can transform even the harshest landscapes into centers of power and prosperity. As the Nabateans settled into strategic desert strongholds and strengthened their control over hidden caravan routes, they began building something far more powerful than territory. They were constructing a vast commercial network that would eventually turn them into one of the wealthiest civilizations of the ancient world. At a time when global trade depended on dangerous land journeys and fragile alliances, the Nabateans positioned themselves as the indispensable bridge connecting distant cultures, empires, and economies. The ancient world had an enormous appetite for luxury goods, especially items that could not be produced locally. Among the most valuable commodities were frankincense and myrrh, aromatic resins harvested from trees in southern Arabia. These substances were incredibly precious, used in religious rituals, royal ceremonies, perfumes, and medicines. Temples across Egypt, Greece, and Rome burned incense daily, creating a constant demand that required reliable supply routes. Transporting these fragile and valuable materials across thousands of kilometers of desert was extremely risky. And this is where the Nabateans found their greatest opportunity. Using their unmatched desert navigation skills, the Nabateans began organizing and controlling massive trade caravans made up of hundreds, sometimes thousands, of camels. These caravans carried goods from southern Arabia through the Arabian Peninsula, passing through Nabatean-controlled territories before reaching Mediterranean ports where products could be shipped to Europe and North Africa. Every caravan that traveled through Nabatean lands paid taxes, protection fees, and service charges, slowly filling Nabatean treasuries with enormous wealth. But the Nabateans were far more than caravan escorts. They became expert traders themselves, negotiating deals with merchants from Rome, Persia, Egypt, and India. Their trade network expanded beyond incense and perfumes to include silk from Asia, spices from India, precious metals, ivory, textiles, and exotic animals. Petra transformed into a bustling international marketplace where languages, currencies, and cultures mixed in ways rarely seen in the ancient world. The Nabateans understood that successful trade required stability and trust. Instead of creating fear through military dominance, they built a reputation as reliable commercial partners. Merchants traveling through Nabatean territories knew they would receive protection from bandits and access to safe rest stops. The Nabateans constructed caravanserais, storage facilities, and trading stations along major routes, ensuring caravans could rest, repair equipment, and resupply food and water. These rest points became economic centers themselves, generating additional income while strengthening Nabatean influence across the region. Petra stood at the heart of this commercial empire. Located between major trade pathways linking Arabia, Africa, Asia, and Europe, the city became a financial powerhouse. Goods arriving in Petra were stored, taxed, repackaged, and redistributed to different parts of the ancient world. Traders arriving from different regions exchanged products, ideas, and cultural traditions, turning Petra into a vibrant crossroads of civilizations. Wealth flowed continuously through the city, funding ambitious architectural projects, public buildings, and elaborate tombs carved into sandstone cliffs. The Nabateans also developed advanced financial practices that supported their trade dominance. They created systems for managing contracts, recording transactions, and maintaining partnerships across long distances. Their ability to communicate and negotiate with multiple cultures made them diplomatic masters who could balance relationships between rival empires without becoming trapped in their conflicts. Their economic success was deeply connected to their understanding of geography. The Nabateans carefully controlled narrow desert passages, mountain valleys, and hidden water sources that caravans depended on. By dominating these natural choke points, they could regulate trade without needing massive armies or large-scale warfare. Their power came from strategic control of movement rather than territorial conquest. As centuries passed, the Nabatean trade empire continued expanding, attracting merchants from every corner of the known world. Their prosperity turned Petra into one of the richest cities in the Middle East, rivaling major urban centers of the Roman and Greek worlds. Foreign visitors described the city as a place of incredible beauty and astonishing wealth, filled with grand monuments, thriving markets, and diverse populations. The Nabateans had achieved something remarkable. They built an empire fueled not by swords or conquest, but by commerce, diplomacy, and the movement of goods that connected the ancient global economy. In the heart of a desert where rainfall was rare, rivers were almost non-existent, and sudden floods could destroy entire settlements within minutes, the Nabateans accomplished something that seemed impossible. They turned one of the driest and most unpredictable environments on Earth into a thriving urban center capable of supporting tens of thousands of people. Their secret was not hidden treasure or military strength. Their true power came from their mastery of water. To understand how extraordinary this achievement was, it is important to imagine the brutal conditions surrounding Petra. The region receives very little rainfall throughout the year, and temperatures often soar under relentless desert sunlight. Water sources were unreliable, often appearing only during brief seasonal rains. Even worse, when rain did arrive, it frequently came in the form of violent flash floods that rushed through narrow mountain valleys with destructive force, sweeping away everything in their path. For most ancient civilizations, building a city in such an environment would have been considered impossible. The Nabateans, however, studied the desert with incredible precision. They observed rainfall patterns, analyzed the behavior of floodwaters, and learned how water naturally moved through the sandstone mountains. Instead of fearing these floods, they developed engineering systems designed to capture and control them. Their approach combined scientific observation with creative construction techniques that allowed them to transform dangerous floods into reliable water supplies. One of their most impressive innovations was the construction of dams. These dams were strategically placed along mountain channels where floodwaters naturally flowed. When sudden storms sent torrents of water rushing toward Petra, these barriers slowed down the flow and redirected water into carefully designed storage systems. This not only protected the city from destructive flooding, but also ensured that valuable rainwater was preserved rather than wasted. The Nabateans also created an extensive network of channels carved directly into rock surfaces. These channels transported water from distant mountain springs and rainfall collection areas into the city. Many of these channels were covered with stone slabs or ceramic piping to reduce evaporation under the intense desert heat. The engineering precision required to maintain proper water flow across long distances reveals an advanced understanding of hydraulics rarely seen in the ancient world. Perhaps even more remarkable were the vast underground cisterns and reservoirs. Hidden beneath Petra, these storage chambers collected water from dams and channels, allowing the Nabateans to store enough supply to survive long dry seasons. Some reservoirs were large enough to support entire neighborhoods, while smaller cisterns were built near homes and public buildings, ensuring easy access for residents and travelers. The Nabateans treated water as their most valuable resource, carefully rationing and distributing it through an organized urban system. Their water mastery also allowed them to achieve something few desert civilizations ever managed: agriculture. The Nabateans constructed terraced farming systems along mountain slopes, using captured water to grow crops such as grapes, olives, dates, and grains. These agricultural developments not only supported local populations, but also contributed to trade networks, increasing their economic stability and independence from external food supplies. The ability to maintain reliable water access transformed Petra from a simple trade station into a thriving metropolis. Travelers crossing harsh desert routes could rest, resupply, and recover within a city that offered flowing fountains, public baths, and shaded gardens. These features were not only practical but also symbols of Nabatean wealth and engineering superiority. Visitors arriving from other civilizations were often astonished to find such advanced water systems operating in one of the most unforgiving climates on the planet. The Nabateans guarded their water knowledge carefully. Their survival depended on maintaining control over hidden water sources and engineering techniques that allowed Petra to flourish while surrounding regions remained barren. Their systems required constant maintenance, skilled labor, and detailed planning, reflecting a society deeply connected to environmental awareness and technological innovation. Through their mastery of water management, the Nabateans demonstrated that true power often comes not from conquering nature, but from understanding and working with it. Their ability to capture, store, and distribute water turned the desert into a center of civilization, allowing Petra to stand as one of the most extraordinary achievements in ancient engineering. As wealth from trade poured into Nabatean society and their mastery of water allowed Petra to flourish in the middle of a harsh desert, the Nabateans began creating something that would immortalize their civilization forever. They did not simply build a city. They carved a masterpiece directly into the living rock of towering sandstone mountains. Petra was not constructed in the traditional sense with stacked stones and rising walls. Instead, it was sculpted, shaped, and revealed from massive cliffs, transforming the natural landscape into one of the most visually stunning cities in human history. Approaching Petra was an experience designed to inspire awe and mystery. Travelers entered the city through a narrow, winding canyon known as the Sick, a natural corridor formed by geological shifts thousands of years earlier. The towering canyon walls rose dramatically on both sides, blocking sunlight and creating an atmosphere filled with anticipation. As merchants, diplomats, and visitors walked through this long, shadowed pathway, they could not see what awaited them ahead. Then suddenly the canyon opened, revealing one of the most breathtaking sights of the ancient world. Al-Khazna, known today as the Treasury, a massive and intricately decorated monument carved directly into a towering sandstone cliff. The treasury stood as a symbol of Nabatean power, wealth, and artistic brilliance. Its towering columns, decorative statues, and symmetrical design reflected extraordinary craftsmanship. Every detail was carefully carved using primitive tools, yet the precision rivals modern construction techniques. The structure combined artistic influences from multiple civilizations, including Greek columns, Egyptian symbolism, and Roman decorative elements. This blending of cultural styles reflected Petra's role as an international crossroads where ideas, traditions, and artistic inspirations traveled alongside trade goods. But Petra was far more than a single monumental structure. The entire city stretched across valleys and mountains, containing hundreds of tombs, temples, ceremonial spaces, residential areas, and marketplaces. Many of these structures were carved directly into vertical rock faces, creating a skyline unlike any other ancient city. Each building served specific purposes, from royal burial chambers to religious sanctuaries and public gathering spaces. The Nabateans believed that architecture should harmonize with nature, so rather than reshaping the landscape, they allowed the mountains themselves to become part of the city's design. The tombs of Petra reveal deep insights into Nabatean beliefs about life, death, and status. Wealthy families commissioned elaborate burial chambers decorated with intricate carvings and symbolic designs that demonstrated both religious devotion and social importance. Some tomb facades were designed to reflect power and prestige, while others contained hidden chambers and complex interior layouts that historians are still studying today. These tombs served as lasting monuments meant to honor the deceased and reinforce family legacy across generations. Beyond ceremonial structures, Petra functioned as a fully organized urban environment. The Nabateans created public spaces that included temples dedicated to their gods, theaters carved into hillsides capable of seating thousands of spectators, and administrative buildings that supported the kingdom's growing political structure. Their engineering allowed for the creation of roads, staircases, and terraces that connected different levels of the city despite the challenging mountainous terrain. What makes Nabatean architecture especially remarkable is the level of planning required to carve entire buildings from solid rock. Craftsmen had to work from the top downward to prevent structural collapse. Mistakes could not be corrected easily, meaning every design had to be carefully planned before carving began. This required skilled labor, advanced geometric understanding, and coordinated teamwork that demonstrates how organized and technologically capable Nabatean society had become. The Nabateans also enhanced the natural beauty of Petra's sandstone cliffs by taking advantage of the stone's changing colors. Throughout the day, sunlight caused the rock surfaces to shift from soft pink to deep red, orange, and golden shades. This natural color transformation gave Petra its famous nickname, the Rose City, and added an almost magical quality that impressed ancient visitors and continues to captivate modern travelers. Petra was not simply a capital city. It was a statement of identity, power, and cultural connection. It reflected the Nabateans' ability to combine art, engineering, religion, and environmental harmony into a single urban masterpiece that stood as one of the greatest architectural achievements of the ancient world. As Petra flourished into a thriving commercial capital and the Nabatean Kingdom expanded its influence across ancient trade networks, a new challenge began to emerge from the West. The Roman Empire was rising into one of the most powerful forces the world had ever seen. Roman legions marched across continents, conquering territories, absorbing kingdoms, and transforming entire regions into provinces under imperial control. Many civilizations faced Rome through war, often resulting in destruction and annexation. The Nabateans, however, chose a different path. Instead of immediate confrontation, they relied on diplomacy, strategic alliances, and economic influence to preserve their independence. The Nabateans understood the power of Rome long before Roman soldiers reached their borders. Roman expansion across the Mediterranean and the Middle East created both danger and opportunity. Rome depended heavily on trade, especially luxury goods flowing from Arabia, India, and Asia. The Nabateans controlled critical segments of these trade routes, making them extremely valuable to Roman economic interests. This gave the Nabateans leverage that few smaller kingdoms possessed. Rather than positioning themselves as enemies, they presented themselves as indispensable partners. Through careful negotiation, the Nabateans established diplomatic relationships with Roman authorities. Trade agreements allowed Roman merchants safe access to Nabatean-controlled routes, while Nabatean traders gained access to Roman markets filled with wealthy customers eager to purchase exotic goods. Roman coins, cultural influences, and architectural styles gradually appeared in Nabatean cities, showing how trade fostered peaceful interaction between the two civilizations. The Nabatean rulers also demonstrated remarkable political intelligence. They maintained friendly relationships with neighboring kingdoms and tribal groups, preventing regional conflicts that might weaken their position. By balancing alliances across multiple powers, they created a protective diplomatic shield around their kingdom. Their strategy relied on maintaining stability and prosperity rather than expanding through military conquest, which allowed them to focus resources on trade infrastructure, urban development, and economic growth. However, the relationship between the Nabateans and Rome was complex and constantly evolving. While trade cooperation strengthened economic ties, Rome's long-term strategy often involved gradually absorbing smaller allied kingdoms into its imperial structure. Roman leaders believed that controlling trade routes directly would strengthen their empire and eliminate reliance on foreign intermediaries. As Roman influence expanded deeper into the Middle East, Nabatean independence became increasingly fragile. The Nabatean Kingdom continued adapting to this growing pressure by strengthening diplomatic ties with Rome. Nabatean kings adopted Roman administrative styles and cultural practices to maintain favor with imperial authorities. Roman architectural elements appeared more frequently in Petra and other Nabatean cities. reflecting cultural integration designed to demonstrate loyalty and cooperation. These adaptations helped preserve Nabatean autonomy for several generations, allowing the kingdom to maintain prosperity while avoiding direct military conflict. Despite these efforts, the balance of power gradually shifted. By the early 2nd century CE, Rome had secured control over surrounding territories, leaving the Nabatean Kingdom geographically isolated. In 106 CE, during the reign of Roman Emperor Trajan, the Nabatean Kingdom was officially annexed and transformed into the Roman province known as Arabia Petria. Unlike many Roman conquests marked by large-scale battles and destruction, the transition of Nabatean territory into Roman control appears to have occurred with minimal military resistance. Historians believe this peaceful annexation was possible because Nabatean leadership recognized the overwhelming power of Rome and may have viewed integration as a way to preserve economic stability. Roman administration brought new infrastructure, military presence, and expanded trade opportunities. Roads were constructed linking Nabatean cities directly to the broader Roman transportation network, further integrating Petra into global commerce. Roman governance also introduced legal and political systems that gradually replaced traditional Nabatean leadership structures. While trade continued to flourish under Roman control, the unique political identity of the Nabatean Kingdom slowly began to fade. The Nabateans had successfully delayed conquest through diplomacy, economic strength, and cultural adaptation for centuries. Their ability to coexist with one of history's greatest empires demonstrated remarkable strategic thinking and political awareness. Yet, even their sophisticated diplomacy could not fully prevent the gradual absorption of their kingdom into Rome's expanding imperial world. When the Nabatean Kingdom was absorbed into the Roman Empire in 106 CE, Petra did not immediately fall into ruin. In fact, for a time, the city continued to thrive under Roman administration. Trade caravans still moved through its valleys, merchants still filled its markets, and travelers still marveled at its magnificent stone monuments. On the surface, it appeared that Petra had successfully adapted to Roman rule. Yet beneath this appearance of stability, slow and irreversible changes were already beginning to reshape the destiny of the Nabatean civilization. The Nabateans had built their entire empire around control of desert trade routes. Their wealth, influence, and cultural identity were deeply connected to the movement of caravans transporting luxury goods across Arabia into Mediterranean markets. However, the Roman Empire introduced new transportation methods and alternative trade routes that gradually reduced Petra's importance. Rome invested heavily in maritime trade across the Red Sea and Mediterranean waters, allowing goods to travel faster and more efficiently by ship rather than by camel caravans crossing dangerous deserts. As sea trade expanded, the ancient land routes that once made Petra indispensable began losing their value. With fewer caravans passing through the city, Petra's economy slowly weakened. The bustling trade markets that once connected multiple civilizations began shrinking. Merchants who once depended on Nabatean protection and guidance found new routes controlled directly by Roman authorities. Petra remained populated, but the constant flow of international commerce that fueled its golden age started to fade, quietly undermining the city's prosperity. Natural disasters may have accelerated Petra's decline. Historical evidence suggests that several powerful earthquakes struck the region between the 4th and 6th centuries CE. These earthquakes caused significant structural damage to Petra's buildings, water channels, and infrastructure. The Nabateans' advanced water management systems required constant maintenance, and when Roman administrative focus shifted to other regions, repair efforts may have become inconsistent. Without functioning water systems, sustaining a large urban population in the desert became increasingly difficult. Cultural assimilation also played a significant role in the disappearance of Nabatean identity. Under Roman rule, Nabatean society gradually adopted Roman customs, language, and governance structures. Over generations, traditional Nabatean culture blended into the larger Roman and later Byzantine cultural world. Their unique language slowly disappeared, their religious practices evolved, and their political independence became a distant memory. Unlike civilizations that collapsed through violent destruction, the Nabateans seemed to fade quietly into surrounding cultures, leaving behind architecture and artifacts but very few written records about their own history. By the early medieval period, Petra had lost much of its population and strategic importance. Trade routes had permanently shifted, political power centers moved elsewhere, and desert sands slowly reclaimed the once thriving metropolis. Petra became a remote and largely abandoned site known only to local Bedouin tribes who preserved stories and legends about the mysterious stone city hidden within the mountains. For centuries, the outside world forgot that Petra even existed. The city that once served as a global trade hub disappeared from maps, historical records, and international memory. Its towering monuments stood silently, protected by desert isolation and narrow canyon entrances that concealed it from passing travelers. The sandstone structures endured changing climates, erosion, and time itself, preserving a frozen snapshot of Nabatean brilliance long after their civilization had dissolved. The world would not rediscover Petra until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, traveling through the Middle East disguised as a local pilgrim, was guided by local tribesmen to the hidden city. When he entered the narrow canyon and witnessed the towering facade of the treasury emerging from the rock, he revealed to the modern world a lost civilization that had remained hidden for nearly 1,000 years. His discovery reignited global fascination with Petra and sparked historical investigations that continue today. Even with modern archaeology, many mysteries about the Nabateans remain unsolved. Historians still debate the full extent of their trade networks, their social structure, and the precise reasons behind Petra's abandonment. The Nabateans left behind breathtaking architecture, advanced engineering systems, and evidence of immense wealth, yet they left surprisingly few written records explaining their own story. Their disappearance remains one of history's most fascinating examples of how a powerful civilization can slowly vanish without a dramatic collapse, leaving behind monuments that continue to inspire curiosity and wonder across centuries. The story of the Nabatean Kingdom is not just the story of a lost civilization hidden behind the rose-red walls of Petra. It is the story of human intelligence, adaptability, and ambition in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. From humble desert nomads wandering through endless sands, the Nabateans rose to become masters of survival, trade, engineering, and diplomacy. They transformed the desert from a deadly barrier into a thriving commercial highway that connected continents, cultures, and economies. Through their unmatched knowledge of the desert, they built trade networks that stretched from Arabia to the Mediterranean and beyond, turning Petra into one of the wealthiest and most culturally diverse cities of the ancient world. Their revolutionary water systems demonstrated a level of environmental understanding far ahead of their time, allowing an advanced urban society to flourish where survival itself seemed impossible. Their architectural achievements, carved directly into living rock, continue to stand as some of the most breathtaking monuments ever created by human hands. Yet the Nabateans also remind us that power does not always vanish through war or sudden destruction. Their empire slowly faded as global trade routes shifted, natural disasters damaged their infrastructure, and cultural assimilation blended their identity into larger empires. Their disappearance was quiet, almost mysterious, leaving behind magnificent monuments but very few written records to explain their rise or fall. Petra became a forgotten wonder of the world, hidden for centuries until rediscovered, reminding humanity how even the greatest civilizations can disappear from memory. Today, Petra stands as more than an archaeological site. It stands as a symbol of innovation, resilience, and the fragile nature of human achievement. The Nabateans prove that knowledge, creativity, and cooperation can build empires without relying solely on conquest or war. Their legacy continues to challenge historians, inspire explorers, and captivate travelers who walk through the narrow canyon and witness the ancient city emerging from stone just as visitors did thousands of years ago. The mystery of the Nabateans may never be fully solved, but their story continues to echo through the sandstone mountains of Petra, reminding us that history is filled with civilizations that shaped the world in extraordinary ways, even if time eventually hides their names beneath the desert sands.